Using narrative tenses together.
I was staying at my friend's house in the woods. It was cold and it was raining. I was reading when I suddenly heard a knock at the door. I got up and opened the door, but there was nobody there. The person who had knocked on the door had disappeared.
So, how do we use narrative tenses to make stories like this? Well, first, let's remind ourselves of the tenses. Here, we have the past continuous. Here, we have the past simple. And here, we have the past perfect. Now let's have a look at how we can use these tenses to create interesting and exciting stories. First, you need to set the scene. This means starting the story. When you start a story, you should ask yourself two questions. First, what was the situation? And second, what were you doing? The tense you should use for this first part is the past continuous. So, if we look at the beginning of our story, we can see three past continuous sentences. First, I was staying at my friend's house. This is where the story is. Second, it was raining. This is what is happening. And last, I was reading. This is what I was doing. Now we have introduced the story and set the scene. It's time to move on to the main part of the story. The main part of the story is the main actions and events. So the two questions you need to ask yourself are, what did you do and what happened? For the main part of the story, the tense we should use is the past simple. So if we go back to our story, we have three main actions. First, I heard a knock at the door. Then, I got up. And last, I opened the door. It's important to mention that the order you write the actions is the order they happen in. So for example, heard is the first action that happens, got up is the second action that happens, and opened is the third action that happens. Imagine it like a checklist. So first, I suddenly heard. Second, I got up. And third, I opened the door. But a list of events like this can sometimes be a bit boring to read. That's why we include background information. So, background information is what happened before the main story. And you need to ask yourself one question: what happened before the main actions and events? The tense we should use for this is the past perfect. So, even though we write it after, the person who had knocked on the door had disappeared actually happens before the main actions. So which one is better? Which one creates a more exciting story? The first one, a list of past simple actions, or this one, which has past simple and past perfect? Well, I would say definitely this one. But what do you think? So here's a reminder of how to do it, using narrative tenses together to create an interesting and exciting story. So first, we need to set the scene, and we use the past continuous. For example, we were waiting for the bus. Next, we describe the main actions, and we use the past simple. For example, when a man attacked us with a water gun. And finally, we need to include some background information, and we use the past perfect. For example, he had followed us from our house. So the story would be, we were waiting for the bus when a man attacked us with a water gun. He had followed us from our house. Good luck writing your stories.